Hi, welcome back to the garden. Are you the one that wanted to quit? Really? It's 100 degrees out here right now. It's 104. I'm here to say we're only halfway done. So what do we do when we're halfway done? We go ahead and we plant. But I'm going to pick something first. And this is why we do it. You know, if you want to make a small change, you change the way you do things. If you want to make a big change, you change the way you see things. And right now I see the garden as half full. I could see it as half empty. We've had some problems. Everybody has some problems. But that's how you learn. And with this deep mulch gardening, I didn't want to weed anymore. But I found out by not fighting nature, everything grows so much easier. I get so much more produce, and this stuff tastes great. I see another squash we should take off before we go plant. So let's grab that and then let's go plant. Now this is a squash that we pruned up just the other day. It had just a little bitty squash on the end, and it's doing just fine. That pruning helped it out quite a little bit. Now let's go ahead and plant. Yes, you heard me say we're only half done. Right here we planted some carrots, and if I was to give up because the little slugs ate them, we'd be missing a great opportunity. So I'm going to use this bed right up here next to the greenhouse. So I'm going to plant some Swiss chard, which is a great one to plant in July. I'm also going to plant a couple more squash. And once we get to frost and these die back, the Swiss chard will still be going good, and I can put a lean-to right off of the greenhouse and help protect this when it gets really cold later in December. So back here pretty close, I'm going to evenly space these out. And yes, I plant too heavy, I know I do, but we try not to use any chemicals of any kind, and we are going to share some with the critters. So then just pat those down, nice soil contact. Then we're going to use sort of the square foot method, and I'm just going to make an indentation just like a dice. So there's your pattern. It's a little under a foot. I'm only going to put one seed in each one of these dents. Just kind of smooth that soil back over, pat that down. We got a good soil contact. And when these squash come up, they won't have to worry about the vine borers or the squash bugs. This is actually round 4. Round 2 is doing pretty good. Round 3 hasn't quite come up yet. Now, just like everything else, I'm going to put a light little layer of mulch back over the top. And we've had enough rain. This soil, even though it's 104 heat index out here, is still good and moist. That's what I've learned about the deep mulch. It moderates your soil temperature. It maintains the soil moisture. We're good to go. I've had several people say, well, it's way too late to garden. Well, if that's what you think, then it probably is. But like I said, I see the glass is half full, and you can do this too. We had a frost on these tomatoes on May 1st. Today is Monday, May 1st. Well, what happened here? It got frosted last night. The last day of April, and our local weather channel said we missed the frost. Well, we didn't. Then the rest of the tomatoes went in. And if you count that up from May 1st to July 19th, that's less than 100 days. And we got just about 100 days before the next frost. So if you have suckers started, you can actually get tomatoes. I'm not suggesting you plant tomatoes, but there's a lot of stuff you can still get in the garden. And this entire garden looks like this after May 1st. Remember? Today is Friday, May 12th. We're going to plant some watermelons. Got to pull this back first. We're going to plant along this fence. We're going to trellis them. Well, we're going to plant some over here. Then we're going to plant some across the way. Well, we got a pretty good beginning on this tomato tunnel. I was also asked why I take the tomatoes off a little early. These ripen inside on the counter just fine. They taste exactly the same as if they turn completely red out here. And since we don't spray out here, I have to worry about sharing with the critters. And one thing I do know, the critters like this stuff as much as we do. And like I said, the hardest work you're going to do in a deep mulch garden is come out here every day and harvest. And just look how fast that turns. You can do this too. And I've said this a lot, but until you've actually grown your own fresh tomatoes, you have no idea what you're missing. And the only way to make sure it's actually organic is to grow it yourself. And this is why we do it, because it tastes great. And if I eat all these, my wife's going to be mad. So I'm going to let her finish picking these today. The corn we just planted to get a fall harvest, it came right on up through the mulch. But I do see we do have some radishes that came up voluntarily. And that's a wonderful example of learning in the garden. Your knowledge isn't just one for one. It's kind of like seed pods. You plant one seed, you get many back. But you got to plant those seeds. And you can do this too. I think we're going to leave this head on a couple more days. I still got a little bit of cabbage in the house. And that's why we do it. That's a beautiful beet. And I planted that after May 1st. Oh yeah, there's a couple other things you can direct sow in May and still have a really good harvest. Has anybody ever said you can't have enough beets? I didn't think so. And you should be able to get a harvest in about 60 days. And I guarantee you, my first year, we didn't get but a handful of tomatoes. And now we got so many, I can't give them away fast enough. And you really can do this too. This is what I'm talking about, the knowledge. Just by taking off a leaf like that that's got a little brown on it, you protect that plant. Yes, you're right. This didn't happen overnight. This is our 5th summer doing the deep mulch. But I'm telling you, our first year we had a pretty good harvest, and it's gone uphill ever since. You really can do this too. And it's very inexpensive, because I'll bet at some point you got to mow a lawn. What do you do with those grass clippings? I add them to the deep mulch. In the fall, the leaves fall. You rake them up. What are you going to do with the leaves? I add them to the deep mulch. Then there's a lot more organic matter you can add to it. I just get whatever I can get my hands on, mix it all together, and this is what you get. But I do need to get busy, and like always, I don't have a big enough container, so let me go get one of those. And it's all about time. We've talked a lot about being patient, but this really has happened quickly. In about 2.5 months, we've gone from seedlings to this. And in the deep mulch, the most work that I have to do is harvest. Look at that. Now I know, you don't have any room, you don't have any place to garden, you don't have anything. Here's a bag. Look at the peppers that we're getting off of here. There's all kind of things you can grow in a bag. If you've never grown anything before, I encourage you to get a container, put some soil in it, put some seeds in it, add a little water, and you'll be just amazed at how you feel. I mean, shoot, you still have time to put okra in a bag. One. I got one there, one there. Ooh, here's one to harvest. And this is actually the perfect, ain't gonna make it into the house size. This is why we do it. This tastes amazing. And since I grew it myself, I know what's on here. Rainwater. Maybe some bug footprints. We're starting to make some corn and I'm excited. We didn't plant this until Memorial Day. Well, there you are. Welcome to my garden. Today is Friday, May 26th. You know what we do at my house on Fridays? We plant. But we've made it to the Memorial Day weekend. We're gonna plant sweet potatoes this weekend. We're gonna probably do it in chapters. You know, a little today, a little tomorrow, over the weekend. If you've been following my story, you know I carefully planned this garden out. Now that we've got a nice defined line, let's go ahead and plant. And I was asked a question if it's too late to plant corn. We planted corn in late July last year. All I'm doing is highlighting the fact that you still have time to grow. So the folks that said they're ready to give up, please don't. Just take one more step, 2 more steps, and we're gonna be past the heat. We're gonna be on to fall gardening, and we still have a lot of time left. And this stuff is well worth it. We got some little bitty beans. Now you can do this too. There's plenty of time. If you want to make a small change, change the way you do things. If you want to make a big change, change the way you see things. By doing the deep mulch garden, I've changed the way I see things. Now the most work I have to do is harvest. And the reason I started making these videos is I had something I thought folks might be interested in. Sure like to share the feeling of walking out into your own garden, picking some fresh fruits and vegetables right there on the spot, not worrying about what's on there, being able to eat it. I really can't explain it, but the first time you do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you want to learn more about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you right back here in the garden. If you want to learn about the living soil, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.